Okay, so I guess we start having a little look at the behavior tree stuff now, right? Fun. So there's a few steps that we're gonna do. So I've already made a character, made an AI controller, and then we've already got those, right? So we can stick with that. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a behavior tree and a blackboard as well. So let me just go into.
Yeah, I couldn't wait for it.
No, that's all good, dude.
I started doing it.
Don't mind. Stuff for yourself as well, good stuff. So within here, we're going to create an AI behavior tree. We're just going to call this behavior tree, BT behavior tree. Let's hope it is. We'll just call this simple, like we've called everything else simple that we're using so far. And then this is a blackboard. We'll call this BB. Simple as well. And our behavior tree should have a place for the blackboard. I don't know if I can do that. That is a parent. Let's open both of these and see what we've got. We've got the blackboard, and then we've got the tree. Oh, they're both toggle between. So in here, this is where it automatically, I remember that, it links up to behavior, the blackboard. But you can change it to different assets if you want. Okay. So the way to think about this is going to be controlling the flow of what you want your AI thing to do. This is going to be our way of storing variables between different tasks on this graph. So this ends up just being like a list of variables of different types. Just think of it like a blackboard, a literal blackboard where you can just store data, you can write stuff on, and then everyone can see that blackboard as well. So that's the way that I will kind of look at it anyway. So there's some existing tasks in here in behavior trees that you can use. There's different nodes as well. So I think the main ones is a selector or a sequence. The selector will go through each of them one at a time, if I remember correctly, and then I think the selector is how you have your branch behavior, is it? And then your sequence is to go through a bunch of different steps. So I think this is the typical kind of pattern you have, and then you'll have a bunch of steps off of here. And a sequence, if it had like 4 steps underneath it here, as soon as it fails one of them, it'll go back up to the tree and then try and go through to the next route. Whereas a selector just goes through them regardless, I think. Okay, it sets when you hover over them. So a selector executes the children from left to right and will stop executing his children when one of the children succeeds. Okay, there we go. If a selector's child succeeds, the selector succeeds. If all the selector's children fails, the selector fails. Okay, right. Whereas the sequence executes the children from left to right will stop executing its children when one of them fails. The child fails, the sequence fails. If all the sequence's children succeed, then the sequence succeeds. Yeah. So all of these need to, can you put comments in here? So all sub-steps need to succeed for the sequence to succeed. Such a pretty comment. Whereas this one, I know it says when you hover over them, but it's to try and help learning. This will returns success when any of its children returns success. So it won't exhaustively go through all of them. Yeah, I think that's the difference, right? This will keep going until it fails, and this one will just keep will stop once it succeeds, which is a difference. Maybe I should write it in that more simple way. no, let's just leave it. Okay. So, Pauline, you're saying the selector is kind of like a branch or an if. Yeah, in a way you're right. Yeah, so if this and if this is fails, then it'll be like else. Yeah, that's a decent way to think about it as well. So what we can do in here is we can go ahead and tell it to go and do different things inside. So it will have some tasks. So if we go into tasks, you can see some of the ones that exist in here already. So we can have something that will move to, and then it can wait for a certain amount of time. But you can also make your own tasks up here of things for it to do. So let's first just do a simple one to begin with using stuff that's already here. So if we can move directly towards, and a wait, we could probably use those. Move to, let's try that. And it hasn't got a location of where we're actually moving to at the moment. So we need to give it a location. And this is where I believe we need to set which Blackboard key we want it to go to. So we're going to make a key. This will be a transfer vector. We'll call this our target location. Save that for now. To our behavior tree. So there we go. It's going to move to that target location. So the thing at the moment is that target location has no value. So we need to set that target location ourselves. And there's no real way for us to do it other than, oh, we can do actually on begin play, we can give it a target location. So let's try and do that. Would it be in the controller? We get the Blackboard. Do some logic. Oh, don't we have to do something called run behavior tree as well, Brain, within the controller?
Sorry, I was eating. Yes.
Yeah. So is it run behavior tree? That's the one. And then we give it the asset simple behavior tree. But what we're also going to do is we're going to assign that start location. So in the same way that we got this location here, the actor location, we're going to also set it in here. So was it just set get Blackboard? Or? How does it know to get them? Where did it get? I think it should be set Blackboard value. No.
What are you trying to do?
Like set values in the Blackboard to begin with, without making a custom task. So you can get the Blackboard from the AI controller, set value as bool, I think. But I don't know whether you can do it outside of the behavior tree. So this is...
I don't remember either.
Get Blackboard. Well, we got a get Blackboard we have at here, and we got the get values. Don't have sets though, but...
You have sets off from the Blackboard node.
Okay, set value as vector. Yeah, and this is where we literal rubbish from. So I'm just trying to do one quick one without making a custom task to really like build up slow, you know?
But so what do you attach to the target of the Blackboard?
Oh, this, you mean?
The Blackboard, yeah.
Yeah, it comes from, it should be this, because we're in the controller.
Okay.
We will see though. And then the key name, we want to make a literal here. And I think I called this target location, didn't I? Target location, let's have a cheeky gander, make sure I did the same thing. What? I made a key before. What Blackboard is this using? What the? Save it. It's be simple. I don't know. But it was called target location, so we got the right name for it. Target location. Let's try that. So when we start, we set the location, and then when it runs this query, it should go for that location. It's only gonna, even if we move it, it won't update it then. Oh, it did. I don't know. It got to here. Why did it stop there? Okay, we've got some issues here. What's the problem? Access none, trying to read the AI character simple. Is it maybe not the ready yet? Or is it? Oh yeah, we haven't done any of the casting actually. Yeah, my bad. Let's copy stuff. Back. Upon casting it, getting the target actor's location. Do that. Weren't performing a cast of that previous setup, going through that way, I think. In the controller, you have to use Blackboard. But within this controller, we're not set up what Blackboard we're using. Oops, sorry. Does this not, this, I don't know, we give it the behavior tree with this, I think, Apollyon. We have this, and then this links to, this has a reference. The behavior tree knows what the Blackboard asset is.
It should be using it by default, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is working, I believe. What we've got going now. Because if it's just trying to get there, but it's in a rubbish location. Use Blackboard, then run the behavior tree. In the examples I was looking at before, it was working without that. You can have a look.
Yeah, and mine is working. I didn't do it, such thing.
Yeah, this is working. It's getting the location based on where the player is. And what we should find out is if I move it, not the player, this orb, but if I move this, it won't move with it. Because it's just trying to get to that one location. We're not updating it at the moment. We'll have a look at that node anyway. I don't think it's essential, but anymore. Maybe it was before. Use Blackboard. Yeah, and then you could pass it into that. No. I guess that gives you a reference to the... this seems to work. Hold on. Yeah, we can just do this get Blackboard thing. I use it to set value before running the tree. Yeah, I think it'll use whatever's associated with the tree. If you don't set it, so maybe that's the default behavior that is allowing it to still function for us. Okay, so there's the most basic behavior that we've gotten, right? So basic behavior here was that we'll write a little bit of notes out about this as well. Just make sure that we've got some progress written down. So what did we do? We BTs. So we created a behavior tree from AI category. Created a Blackboard. So this will control the flow of behavior. This stores variables between tasks in the behavior tree. Okay, so then we did a very simple bit of logic we did, which was to, in our behavior tree, constantly try to move to a location. We set that location via on begin play.
Okay.
Yeah, controller. Thank you, Anthony, for the follow. Welcome along. I said it's a bit different, as I can use different trees and blackboards at runtime. Like you can switch between them, you mean, is it? Yeah, that would make sense then, perhaps, to use to change your blackboards around as well, dear Napoleon. So thank you for sharing your experiences, man. That does make sense, and that's a question I asked Brainerd earlier off stream about, like, would you be changing these behavior trees at runtime, or just have one big behavior tree with like switches, you know? Like, I'm currently in this part of the world, so we're going to do this side of the tree. I imagine if you can change out the behavior tree, it's less evaluation, so it'd be probably better.
Okay.
So we can just do get controller, no, get. So in a begin play, we need to call, I wrote it out, let me find it in here. Run behavior tree. So and then we did a get Blackboard, and we did set value as vector. For the name of it, we made a literal key name, make a literal, and name it the exact same as the Blackboard variable name. Very janky to do stuff like that, but that's how it is. And then we can Blackboard the binary tree, behavior tree, sorry, will then have access to that location in our move to function. Christina, just welcome to the follow. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the follow. Thanks for the stream. I'm making sense. Okay, that's a very simple, behavior. No custom tasks. Done. I like to build up things in complexity. Like if you can do something and build on it, you have points where I'm comfortable with what I've done. So if you go to the next step and it all falls apart, you're not back onto zero. I find personally, for me, motivation and demoralizing losses can really put me off wanting to learn. So having some progress constantly that you can look back on is an important tool for me. Okay. So next up, we're going to try and make our own custom behavior then using our own tasks. So we're going to go into here. So this to begin with is going to just be our... So after it, we could do a wait, could we? But then it would have to get a new location. So we could start to branch this out into... Can you put comments in comments? I can't even remember. I think you can. Basic behavior. No custom task. Yeah. One play to fun. Hello. Welcome. How's it going? So we're going to go ahead and do a different sequence now. And this is going to be a slightly bigger one. Can we disconnect this? I'm actually tempted to try and do branch on this a little bit slower. Actually, we can add a decorator to this as a using a control variable of when we want to do this. What I'd like to do is, instead of doing move to, I'd like to do the move directly towards. And we can do that in the same way. So let's get rid of this a sec. Is there a way you can disconnect them? Right. I don't know what that does. Yeah. Break links.
Connect?
Yeah, there's one called break links that did it. Okay, so let's just see if this works the same way. It should do, in my opinion. Yeah, it still goes there. That's cool. I'm going to change the character speed so we have a bit more time to work with. Let's go into our character, movement, speed. Walk speed, let's just check you at 100. So now it's a little bit slower for us to see it happening. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay, so we're going to learn a little bit of logic here. Alt and click the link to break it. Thank you, that's a good tip as well. Let's try that. Alt, click. Perfect. Thank you, Apollyon. That's a lot easier. Okay, so what I want to do then, just to give an outline of what we're going to be doing, is we're going to just make this a tiny bit more logic. We're going to make this a bit, that doesn't make sense. Sorry. I'm going to add a tiny bit more to this. We're going to copy all of this, bring it across. I'm also going to just change my headphones out because they're about to run out of battery. Me a brief sec. Brain, my audio with you might cut out for a bit.
Okay.
I might need to rejoin the call. It messes up sometimes. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Can you try to talk for me, Brain?
Hey.
Oh, I can hear you without having to restart. That is lovely.
Good to know.
Fantastic. Okay, so what I was saying, we want to make it a little bit more. We are going to do a little bit of logic where we gate it. Basic behavior, no custom tasks, but we're going to use a controlling the flow with a decorator. So a decorator is something you can put on the sequence to say, only do this if. So it's like gating it before you start doing steps. So it's not about a task failing for this to fail. You can even just block it with a condition, essentially. So we're going to go for this exact same thing. For the decorator, we're going to add on to this. We move this across. Does it let us do that? I think you just... Yeah, they got to go from the chunks to the chunks here. This one, we're going to do it a little bit differently. That we're going to first go to our Blackboard. We're going to add a Boolean in here. This Boolean is like can follow target. Let's just set it as that for now. Let's save that. Go back here. Okay, excellent. So within our tree, we're now going to add a decorator on here. Add decorator. Right, I'm not used to this massive list of them. Blackboard, would we be looking at something from that? Probably. I want to look at
Blackboard. What are you going to do?
Yes, I want to check, is this Boolean set? So, is this...
Is set and is not set is confusing to me.
Yeah, does that... Yeah, does that... Can it be used as true and false on a bool?
I guess, yeah.
Okay. So, this should say, if that is if it can follow the target, move directly towards it. Otherwise, it'll do nothing. Right, that's the kind of logic we're going for. So now what we need to do is just to tie in some logic to when we control that. And the reason I thought we'd do this is because we already have this kind of logic we can hook into here. Where instead of going towards it, we can just snap off this logic here. Just a sec. I mean, actually, we like the print K. Helps us know that things are being done properly. So I guess we still need the controller as well. Let's move this down, actually. Let's duplicate this. Control W. This is to like a move to on K press. Let me just move this out the way. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get our character. So we're getting the location of its target actor. No, we don't need to do that this time. We just want to get the controller. To get control pawn is coming from... no, we're already in here. So we don't actually need a character. That was my mistake. Apologies. So we just want to get Blackboard from here. And we want to get Blackboard value. Get value as, I think it's called. Get value as bool. From this key name, we're going to make a literal from this. This was can follow target, if I remember correctly. Did that. It's not Bora's dog that's unhappy. Is that a name? That's Mario with all those doggos around.
They're not around, they're actually quite far away, but I have a condenser microphone, so...
Ah. So we get the value as... so if it is true... Oh no, we want to set it, don't we? Yeah, my bad. My bad. We want to set... bool. We can still use this though. And that's it. That's all we need to do. No, we should flip it actually. Yeah, so I guess we do need a get value as bool. So we're going to get the previous version, and then we're going to give it a not version of that to set as. So we can flip it basically, right? That's fine. Beautiful. Look at all those wonderful colourful lines. Don't think we need those. So this is going to be our logic to... let's just move these away from that so we can clear up the logic. Setting a bool on our Blackboard on K press. Let's save this. Thank you for the follow, Nia Fox. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we're hoping this works. It shouldn't follow it to begin with until we press K. Well, what's the default value of it actually? Should definitely have a look at that. So if we go into, is it on the Blackboard we see it? Hi, hi, hi. Click on it, default value. Is there a default? Where do we set defaults? Maybe we don't. It'll probably default to false if it's a bool though. Check out the challenges. Yeah, so this month, I don't like write up a description, but pretty much we are in whichever engine you want to. If you look into AI behavior trees, tasks, like nav meshes, and we're going to be looking at something in Unreal called the EQS as well. Ah, awesome. New game dev. Awesome. But if you're interested in seeing previous ones, dude, as well, I need to catch up. I'm a bit behind on these, but I stream it, but then what I do is, oh, I'm in the wrong bloody browser. Doesn't matter. You can go to my video section And if you go to my here, monthly game dev challenges. So this one was for the particle systems we did in month 2. I then have the materials one that I need to upload. And before this, there was another one before that. I really dislike the way they've just. I don't want to play always clips. No, I want to see all of my. Surely it shouldn't be this difficult to find my. Highlights, or did I think so? Sorry about this. There's like topics. I think collections they're called. There we go. So I've put them into collections here. So particle systems and concept are playable there. So this one is quite extensive. We spent quite a lot of time on it. This one's a little bit shorter. And it's not like really condensed. This is how to do it. It's us figuring out how to do stuff. We did one on materials last month, which was really cool. I feel a lot happier about materials now. Not good with them, but just they don't confuse me completely. And then this month, today's the first session of us working on AI stuff or behavior stuff, I guess. So yeah, we're just going to see whether this works now. If I press this, it should not move until I press K. Then it does move. If I press K, it should stop. Okay, it's not stopping. That's interesting. You've messed around with that? Yeah, I have around actually a long time ago now, around a year ago I did, and it was awesome. You can get some really cool. I love the heuristic side of it, how you can weight different values. Like you can get like 100, like 50 points back, but you can score them based on different criteria, and I think that's really cool. Let me have a look what we're doing here. Maybe our logic is incorrect here. So when we press K, we're going to get a blackboard, going to get the value, and then we're going to switch it, and then we're going to set it. Yeah, I mean, that should work. I think that is set is not working how we think it is, Brian.
What?
Because is set, that doesn't mean true or false. You know, in that behavior tree thing. That's the only thing that makes sense to me why it wouldn't be working at the moment. I want to know like the value of this.
It works here. I guess, I'm not sure.
But well, I'll show you mine, dude.
Maybe not.
On mine, it does nothing until, which is what I expected. It's not set at the moment, or I assumed it'd be false by default, but it's not set. Then when I press K, it'll set it. But then if I press K again, it should flip it, but it still keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure those values are flipping between true and false. Now, I mean, I can breakpoint it to be sure, I guess, can't I? Where are we here? So let's F9 here. And let's go back in and press K. So the value here is false, so this is going to get set to true. So we had false, true. Let's F5, continue past this bit.
So
and then, hang on.
What?
I'm sorry. And then we should have true, false this time. True, yeah, and that's getting set to false. So it is flipping them, but it's been set before, so it seems to be only if it's been set. I guess that's like an is valid check.
Like, what should we use then?
I think we might need to make a... Yeah, I don't know. I think we'd need to make a custom step, would we? Or would it be... No, a service, would it be?
No, I mean to check the condition.
Is there a different... The basis is condition on a Blackboard key. Yeah, I don't know. There's not that many options here, is there? It's like next to no options. So we've got a decorator. Maybe there's different decorators we can use. Check gameplay tags, compare BB entries. Is Oh no, that's comparing to two different ones. Okay, let's try a different one. Composite. Cone check. Yeah, what I'm trying to do is build up slowly in Fox through not creating anything custom at the moment. And then we'll build up to adding our own task and things like that as well. I know it's like impractical not to make your own stuff, but it just gives that little bit of an understanding of what Decorator does without you having to learn how to make a Decorator. But yeah, it doesn't seem to. I might have a quick Google to see if there's a. E4 Decorator. Compare Blackboard pool value.
The video we watched, he's using that is not set stuff, and it works.
That search results you get is astounding that there's so few. Like, you start getting to really obscure stuff on the first page. Allowed to escape. Oh. The Boolean value in Blackboards is always passing even if the value is false. Why is this? I think they have the same thing as... Blackboard invalid. They haven't... Is this an answer? Root Decorator is not executed. You should change the position of your... Oh, as in they should have a sequence above it? I don't even know if that's it. Oh, we have a selector here. I swear there's a way to do this. It's either that or, like, well, my logic it's not updating the Blackboard, but it should be updating the Blackboard. It's composite. No, not one of those. Oh, do we have to? No, we don't. When it changes, do we have to? We shouldn't have to notify. Because I don't think... Does it stay in this until it finishes? Okay, let's just try that just in case.
Okay, it worked on my end. But I'm not sure.
No, that's a common thing today, isn't it? Oh, I think I found it. I had to abort the flow. So it's...
Oh, you weren't. Okay.
Well, the way I saw it, dude, I would thought that this move directly towards it, this wouldn't just keep looping in here, that this would then go, okay, move towards it and go back up, come back through.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't do that clearly, because otherwise it doesn't keep going through this check. Do you know what I mean, dude?
Yes, of course. I get it. But yeah.
So this it just gets stuck in here then. It doesn't keep going through here. The point is, if you don't have this thing to break out of it on this.
Yeah.
On value change or results change. Restart on every. Don't even know the difference here. I think you're set to none to begin with, right? So if we save that and run again, we should have it. So I press K once. If I press A again, it doesn't stop. Right? Okay, so if I put a breakpoint in here, I would have expected this to hit repeatedly. It's not even being hit now. Why is it not being hit now? I guess it's not set yet, maybe. So, okay, we're on this point here. We just go resume. It's stuck in this task. So yeah, this was not stuck in this task. It's doing this task. It doesn't come back up. Did it just hit it again? Yeah, it did. I think that must have been after it got to its location. Yeah. Okay, so we learned that task, it'll go through, it'll keep executing this. It doesn't keep going through in that way. So I wonder, could we put a decorator on here instead? How that would work. Okay. No, it still doesn't stop. But I guess it's because, no, it's, of course that doesn't work because this task is still going. It's still the task that's going. Okay. We need to put it in there, but if the value changes, we need to interrupt it, basically. I don't quite know the difference between results. Restarts only when the result of evaluated condition has changed. What's value? Every change. Oh, so does that mean if it's set, even if it's the same value? I'm not 100% on that. Try this. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Well, we got that logic working. That's fine. I think we learned something while doing that as well. So let's write a bit more about it. What did we learn here? We learned that I can't drag. Oh my words. Please. Look at that. I am clicking on it because we're in this. Oh, that was horrible. Okay. So this task will continue without will essentially keep executing once started until it gets to its destination.
This works weird.
What's happening with yours at the moment?
Yeah, if you write your comments, then we can check out my.
Okay, give me a sec then, thank you. And Deke, sorry, try unsetting can follow target rather than setting it to the opposite. Can you unset it though? Personally, what I think is happening here, Deke, is like when you go into this is a task and it doesn't return success or fail until it gets to its destination, or maybe there's an internal cooldown thing. And so it's not going back through this flow. This is true when it starts, but then when I press K again, it doesn't need to pass through this logic in order to gate it. Let's just put a comment on this one saying that we have abort this child. Gosh, that sounds a bad phrasing, wasn't it? Aborts if the value
abortion this child.
The base condition is changed to snap or to basically interrupt, I guess you could say, the move directly towards task. Okay, move that down to here. No, notify observer. Notify observer. Okay, cool. Let's save that. There we go. We got the most basic one we have down here. Move that across now. We've then taken it up a little bit. We're now going to go ahead and look at a different one again where we can start making our own things, I guess. We'll probably try making our own task. Well, or we might want to branch some things out. So like an interesting thing with this is like a way to show that this is how it works is if we put like a weight here. So say we go weight. Let's just put it as 0.5 seconds. So if we save that, what we should see is that won't happen until you get to the destination. So we're not going to see anything different, I hope. That means I understand it. We press play. And we press K. Yeah, it still moves smoothly. You can see it's not doing that wait. That wait will only happen after that task is finished. And this is not finishing. Okay. So some of these things, for me, it's just like I try and look at these situations like what is intuitive and where mistakes can be made. And I remember being confused about this before. Like I keep thinking that this thing will just constantly go through. It'll try and do one step of that. Like, where's my target? How much time has passed since the last frame? Move me in that direction. I've finished. And then it'll go around again and it'll try and do it again. But it doesn't tend to, the tasks don't tend to be set up in that way. Tends to be more of, okay, keep trying to do this until you've finished. So it's got its own little control of the behavior tree thread, I guess. That makes sense, because you don't want to be jumping around different parts of the behavior tree midway through stuff, so. And if you do, you want to control it with these notify things that we just saw. All right, Brain, what did you want to share, dude?
Sorry, I'm still testing something.
Okay, no problems. No problems.
Middle of it.
It's all what? All right, let's move this one out the way. And all right, let's try a different one then. So we're gonna have another sequence. I'll click that. Get rid of that.
So it's working.
This time we're gonna maybe do a custom logic one. So what would we want our thing to do? Okay, we could get it so it queries each time to get the position of it. So once it'll move to it. Once it gets to it, it'll wait 5 seconds, and then it will get the location again, and it'll go for it. Let's just do that, shall we? So for that to work, we'd need to first off get the location, because we can no longer rely on it being set, right? So we might need to make our own task here, because there's not a task that exists. So this is the first time we're doing our own custom task. We're going to go on new task at the top. We can then view this. And we give this a new name, which is going to be called find target actor location. You have to abort because the task isn't complete. Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's have a look at this. Thank you, Deke. A few sentences of Blackboard enemy blueprints, behavior tree, determine which branch we get into based on the condition. Gonna be the abort thing in here, is it? Yeah, down here, I guess. In the details panel, yeah, and then you can see it's changed these to on results change both, yeah. Do you know what's funny, Brian? Those tutorials we saw is pretty much the Unreal documentation. But he's just done a video of it and has got a lot of patrons from it. He's got like has line of sight patrolling. I know it doesn't mean he's copied it, but at the same time, he's made it accessible. Then fair dues. Okay.
I don't understand this. I tried several different stuff. And I changed all my layout. Now it looks weird, but check this.
Okay. I'm looking.
Okay, so I have this wander around. It finds a random location, it works, and moves to that location and waits. And I have the servers I placed everywhere just to test. Just checks the distance between the player and the NPC, the AI.
Right.
And I have a check distance. If it's smaller than that, change the player's close on Blackboard.
Okay.
Okay. And I have an escape location. Find escape location, then move to that position thing.
So that's if it needs to run away, right?
Yeah.
So it should only get there if it fails, that first one?
Let's do these. So this is even
simpler.
Yeah. And let's add the decorator. Is not set. When the player is not close, it's gonna go in here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't even place the condition here.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so guess this is it. So
you'd have to wait for it to get to its location to break out of that, would you? Go back to.
I didn't.
Go to the bottom left. Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay.
Both.
I just self would do, I think.
Yeah, self is enough.
Because if you scroll down a bit for me, what's that middle node on the left side? Move to it wouldn't even consider going to the runaway until it finished doing move to and wait.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh wait, let's add a breakpoint here and one I have here.
Okay.
So it's false right now because we are far away.
Is that your service, right? Yeah.
We are far away, and we're getting close.
Oh.
Goes in. Now it's true.
Okay.
So looking at here,
it should break.
It should go here, right?
Well, it depends how long find location takes, but yeah.
It depends on find. What?
It's on wait, is it?
Yeah, it's returning back to here from wait. And then here.
Back up and then back to the root, yeah? Why does it still wait? For me, it should be aborting. Was it during the move to that it did that evaluation?
This is not on tick. This is in event receive activation AI. So I'm trying to understand when it fires. Because just let's resume.
Okay.
So it went in here again.
So it says it's not set, is it?
Well, if you look at here,
it says fail,
it's
actually.
true.
Yeah, if you hover over it, it said it failed as well.
Sorry, where was I? Okay, here.
Do you mean, sorry, Jad, do you mean debug like in the editor view where you can see the scene? Or do you mean something different? Carry on, Brian.
So if it failed, why did it jump into this?
Yeah, I'm of the same thinking of you.
And you can see the player close is true.
Yeah.
And let's resume again.
Are you the player right now, right? It's right on you.
Yes. And it was true already, and it's true again.
Yeah.
And and now it went to this place.
Now it's running away. But what was the? When is it evaluating that is player close thing? I think what's happening is that player close thing isn't constantly done, so it's going to move to the player, wait, and then next time it comes in, it will evaluate it.
So what if I do this?
And Jad, just answer in chat. We're just trying to understand the way that the services are evaluated, how frequently they are, in order to understand the flow or what we can expect our flow to be. I don't know the receive activation AI versus receive deactivation AI. I don't understand those yet. I haven't tried playing with them.
I'm thinking like maybe receive and not receive. What was the name of it?
Is it just when it's getting evaluated, sort of thing? Do you think it is like
activation and deactivation is when it jumps in and jumps out?
Yeah. Or would it be when it goes back up, like flow down and flow up?
Maybe. Oh, it doesn't move now. Yeah. Now it went here.
What did we change? Or was that the same play?
I added the other one. The activation one.
Oh. But it's not got the controller or pawn plugged in either.
It kept this one. That's a problem, of course. This goes here, this goes here. Sorry.
Give that a go.
Okay. Wait, I'm close to you.
That should get set to true. It stays still just because that weight, yeah, so that's okay. Resume.
Yes, it works now.
It runs away. So
it goes here, waits. Then when it's stepping out, it activates the deactivation. It triggers the deactivation event.
Right. Okay. So it's basically the flow in and the flow out, right?
Yes.
So if it passes through it with an arrow down, it's the activation, and so it wasn't re-evaluating it. Then wouldn't it re-evaluate it when it came back through anyway, and then fail and then go across? Like it would take one extra check, maybe, but.
I don't know. I'm still confused because let's imagine the other approach. If we had it in activation, not deactivation. So it goes in here, it checks it, it's false. Yeah, that's the issue actually.
What's the issue?
Because the first time it gets in with the activation, it finds it false. Then it goes here, here, then it waits, and it steps out. Then it goes here, it's false for this one.
Right. So it will...
Then goes in this again, set it to true, but it doesn't care. We passed this condition already. So it goes in here again. That makes sense. So what? You didn't understand? I don't think I
saw your code. I'd like to.
So imagine we are here in the selector. We move down. What is this by default?
So this should be a false or not set.
Yes,
I guess, right?
It's not set.
So let me see. You want to see? You only do this if it's not set. Okay, is that correct?
Yes,
Or so if it's
yes.
false or not set. Correct. Okay, so then
Correct.
you're telling it to do wander around. That's just the name of this. But before it does that, does it need to get past this service, or does this service just do something?
No, now it steps in the service after the condition.
Yeah. But the service isn't like a conditional, is it? It's just a like, here's something to do.
I don't know.
It's just like executing another task, but done in a different way that you associate with this node, to my understanding.
Yes.
Okay,
yes, you are correct. No.
So when this gets called, so it won't get called your current way, because yours has only got on deactivation, right? So it would just go over that the first time. So it wouldn't check if it's close to it. So it would automatically, it'd wait until it gets to the player first. It would, right?
I'll wait until it gets, yes.
Where does is player close get set?
Sorry, I was thinking something else. I actually tried to add another sequence before this one and placed this here, and it didn't.
Oh yeah, I remember you did have one before. Can I just quickly see where is player close set? Is it just in that service?
Yes.
Is that the only place where it's set, right?
Yes.
And it's based on the distance. Okay, so that will only get called on the way out at the moment. So that means if your player gets close to it on the way to it, it's not going to interrupt itself. It's just going to wait until it gets there, wait for 3 seconds, then it'll go like, oh, they're close, and then it'll go into the other tree and run away.
Yes, very dumb AI.
So it's kind of like primary school where the girl runs over to the boys and then kisses him and then runs away shyly. Yes, great AI. I would give you an A star, but with AI we can't use that term, can we?
Okay, I kind of understand this. I can move on. Thank you.
It's okay.
And I'm muting myself because the player's too loud again.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
Bye.
You being aware of it. Okay, that was useful, because it means I think I understood a bit about services before we've even got onto them as well, which is nice. So we were just going to start doing our own task for the first time. We've done some basic flow so far using existing tasks, and we used a basic decorator as well to understand how that works, and how some of these tasks you go in will just stay within them until they've finished. It's not continually going through the flow over and over and moving a tiny bit towards the target. This sort of step will continually try to go there and only return true once it gets to the target. I imagine there's some fail if it takes too long, or if it can't find the target anymore, then it will return fail, maybe, if the vector is no longer valid. But what we're going to do is try and make our own one. And I said what we'd do is we'd let's put a comment around here to say what I want this to do. So we're going to get the location of player, move towards it, wait 5 seconds, and then loop that behavior. So the idea here is that we're going to make our own first custom task, which we've made. Find target actor, I think I called it. So if we go find target, there we go, there's our new one. So within here, we need to actually define this. It doesn't really have anything. But after that, we're going to then say move. Let's just use this move directly to again. I don't quite know the difference between move to and move directly to, but it's fine. And then we are going to have our wait. Let's just do that bit. So we get 5 seconds. Fantastic.
Maybe move directly is not considering the nav mesh and just trying to move in a straightforward fashion.
In a straight line without regard to navigation system. Yeah, you're right. Let's just get move to then. We shouldn't be using that. We're using the nav meshes, then we shouldn't be using those. Let's alt click this and just say this ignores. Nav mesh? Naive mesh. Okay, sweet. So let's go ahead and try and set up this. We need to try and remember how this works. So we're in our task. We need two things. This is something important to remember. We might write this on our notes as well. So we have two nodes. The one is like task activation, execute, event receive execute AI.
Yes.
And then to end, we need the execute end something. Finish execute.
Yes.
Pow. We need these two. Every time you make a task. These. Let's go into our little doc that we're doing. So then we, what did we do next? We created a, what did we call it? The decorator. No, we created a decorator using the Blackboard variable is set, which can be used with balls. Something to remember, keep in mind tasks like move to will not, this is just, I find it important, some other people it might be obvious too, but for me it's important, will not move one step and then tree be evaluated. Instead, the task will continually move one step and only return and go back into the tree. A reevaluation once the task is returned success or not success. That's a really badly worded sentence. I'll rephrase it when my mind's feeling happier. Okay. So next up then we're gonna like creating, we should probably do this as a separate. So we want to go ahead and create a new task and name it, or adding it to your behavior tree. And within the tree, every task needs these two nodes minimum. So you'll need multiple finish nodes if you've got branching behavior. I believe this is where we will go chuck in picture there. Awesome. It does that. Let me give this a name either. In Google Docs, you give it a name at the top, don't you? Okay, so let's go in. These are our start things. And so let's think, we want to get the location. So we have our controlled pawn. We want to cast this to our simple one. And we want to get the location of its target actor, right? So get target actor, that's the one. So here, cast failed. We want to finish execute. Fail, so it's not successful. Fine. If it was successful, we want to get the actor location, and we want to use that in our calculation to set the Blackboard value of our controller. So get Blackboard from that controller. Let's move this somewhere where we can see it. And then we want to set value as a vector. So this location is then going to be plugged in. And we're going to set the value, which is called target location, I believe. Target location, correct. do this. We're not going to promote to variable. We're going to do make a literal name. And sorry, my clicking accuracy is really terrible at the moment. Target location. Okay, so we've got a target location, and then we're done. And that was a success if it did get to that. So if we're able to get the location, we set it and it's a success. If not, we fine. I'm happy with that. We save that. So now we find the location and then we need to move to it. And here you give it a location. Ah, this is oh no, I've done this wrong, haven't I? Hang on. Right, so I think what I did might work, but I remember in the video I was looking at before, Brain. Instead of doing it like I've done, if I can borrow your eyes for a sec, I've gone ahead and like got from the controller to get the Blackboard and set values. But they weren't doing that. They were making a variable, right?
Yes, I used the variable.
Yeah. I wonder if this will work itself first, but I'll change it to that way. I think it makes it more reusable, doesn't it, if you out it as a variable. But it may not work anyway.
Both ways are ugly to me.
It's fine. So this should try and find that location. Okay, it's found it. Going to try and get there, and then it's going to wait for 5 seconds, and then it's going to go to the new position. Should be in a 1, 3, 4, 5, and go. Yay, would you look at that? Okay, so it does work. But the way they recommend to do it is to out it as a variable. So I should, after a few seconds, go for that position. Yeah, okay, sweet. So that's working. But we generally just trying to make this fit onto the into a nice screenshot condensed that I can just chuck into this doc. Okay, so we made a task to get hold of a value from the pawn being controlled by the controller. This way directly accesses the Blackboard within the task itself. Hey Merlin, yeah, it's going okay, dude. There's been some ups, some downs, but the learning is happening. It's good. I'm interested in this stuff. It's really going to help with the AHA stuff as well, understanding this stuff well. So, and we might be doing some of this not as the monthly game dev streams, but I might do a couple of streams this week, looking at trying to work on behavior stuff. So, hello, Court the Jester. Hello. However, it is recommended to change value Blackboard values. I don't know why. Different the following method instead, where we create a variable, expose it, then when we choose allocate that variable on the behavior tree. Itself, rather than within the task. So let's try and do it that second way, shall we? So maybe we'll make a different task. We'll save this. And we'll make a different one. Duplicate this and better. And this better one, what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable in here. We're going to create this as a type, which is a Blackboard key selector. That's the one. Doesn't matter what we call this. It doesn't have to match. It's not like that other the net key name that we've been using before. This is going to be, we'll just call it new location, just to prove that. Oh, thank you, Booksnail. Did I manage to use the link? Which link now? Remind me. Sorry, dude, if I've... Okay, so we've made this variable. We're exposing it, or instance editable. So that means that the behavior tree will get to see it as well. So instead of getting the Blackboard, we don't need to do that anymore. We're not going to set the value. We're going to use it to set it this way instead. So new location, set, will do. Oh, hold on. Oh, what was the missing step here? How do I, Brain, you're gonna borrow your eyes for a sec.
Yeah.
If I've made this Blackboard key, how do I set, if I want to set like the actual value?
First you get the new location, drag and drop into the graph, delete that set.
Oh. So I need to get this, do I?
Yeah, so imagine it's a key selector, not the key itself. So drag and drop the new location to the graph.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a getter, is it?
Yeah. Then you set something from...
Yeah, sorry. So set value or whatever it's called from.
I guess it's important to remember that it's a selector, not the key itself.
Right.
So you select a parameter from a key from the Blackboard.
What is it called?
Yeah, set something. What
set
type
member?
of...
No. Hang on.
No, set. You didn't type set. You type cell or something.
Oh. Yeah, that's what I was expecting to see. Okay, set Blackboard value. There we go. That's, and the key will be based on what we select outside. Yeah. There we go. That's what I was expecting to find. And then that'll finish it. Okay, so this is a bit different then. So we're gonna just cap this one in. Happening with my screen cap at the moment. The time's a charm. It was how long until Discord and Unreal crash? Starting to feel it coming. So we do it this way, and then we can set what key in our Blackboard it changes on the task on the BT as follows. Let's go back now. So if we save this, the difference between both of these then, so we've got two. We've got one as a normal one, and then we've got one as the better version of it. Let's just move these across for now. So let's find actor location better. The difference for this, you see we have like an out parameter, and we can choose what we want to set it as here. So we could reuse this and set it to different things. Whereas this is very specifically setting it to that one value. So they do the same thing, but this one is the way they recommend doing it, I think. Let's turn that off. Let's just make sure that works before we are confident of that. What we should find is it goes towards its target, and then if we move it, it'll go towards the new target after a delay of 5 seconds or so. No, Merlin, we didn't get that link working, to be honest, but we made some progress at least with understanding what was going wrong with it. Well, no, with the nav mesh we did, rather than finding what was going on with the link, we just skipped the. Whether this, yeah, it won't finish this task until. You know how to get around there? No, it probably doesn't. There we go now. Yeah, after we were playing with it for a while, Merlin, the nav mesh just broke and it wouldn't move at all. So it was sad times for a bit, but okay, yeah. So they kind of make sense. Let's go and chuck in the screenshot of what we wanted to in here. Okay, can we just closer? It's a smaller screenshot. Okay. Cool. Okay, so we got that behavior thing to work. This one worked fine. We'll leave this in here for now. I mean, we can probably still do the... Oh, we can still do the K decorator thing that we did before, whether it should chase target. To be honest, we don't really need it, so let's not.
Decorator with a key.
How pretty. A key? Oh.
A K decorator. Decorator.
Oh, Let's see. Must pronounce it correct. Here. What do we want to do differently this time? I guess we want to... I guess we want to check is the... I'm trying to think of these services, like when you use them versus not. What's the difference between using it versus Decorator? I guess that you have the flow on the way up and down. I'm not sure. I'm going to just take a little break to grab a drink anyway. It won't be too long. Merlin. I wasn't here to know what kind of screaming there was. It was brainoid. I'm not quite back yet. Just give me another 30 seconds. Hello, we are back. An echo, and suddenly I could hear a kid. It was funny. It sounded like a ghost. It's haunted in here. Haunted. Okay, right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for that brief delay. I got myself a hot drink. Needed to whet my whistle, and also to have a bit of mouth stimulation, as we like to call it. The mouth magician needs to keep his tools well oiled. Ah, but his oil is too hot to consume right now. Yeah, Brainoid is still here, Merlin. Say hi to Merlin, Brain. He's been killed. Okay, so that is fine. So let me see what else I wanted to explore. Sensing is one thing we want to do, but also okay, no, how about we listen? We want to know when it finds their location, right? But we want to know when that changes. Oh, but then would that be? How would we do that? Because we're not going to store it as a Blackboard value of where the. We've got to think of the reality of how this would work as well. Normally, you'd probably have a sensing thing, which would be like, oh, I've seen a target. So you'd use that as a way to say, like, can I still see them? Or have to get their new location from that. Oh my gosh, like I backed Windy's Kickstarter the other day, right? And I've had 6 emails from them within the last 4 days, I think. Like, it's like, who wants that many emails from a company? Generally, they're not about his game. It's dumb. Like Bitbucket used to do the same, I think, if I remember correctly, and like loads of these websites you sign up. It's like I don't know. Does anyone really want these updates? These emails, like 5 times a week, getting an update on, hey, did you know we do this as well? Oh, here's this cool new thing we're doing. Anyway. Damn, now I have a roaming AI, but even if it stands right in front of the player, it does not see him. Maybe there's a ghost in your game, Apollyon. Have you considered that? Ghosts are rife at the moment. Okay, let's rename this. So we say this is a custom task to get the location of the player. Cool, and we'll leave that as that. That's another node that we've made now. Simple, but we'll make another one. Break that off. So I need to try and think what I want to do next one. I just read it. I made some notes when I was going through some of the tutorial video stuff before. So just see if there's anything in there that struck my memory. Okay. We've looked at decorators. Can we make our own custom decorators again? I think that is something you can do. New decorator. We haven't quite looked at that yet. Interesting, I guess, to see. We can make one of these. So let's add a sequence as we have done before. See what sort of stuff comes up in a custom decorator. A new decorator. Oh, crikey. Yeah. I don't know what we need. What events are there from here? Finish, start, observe, activated, observer deactivated. Call to an execution of underlying node is finished. Deactivated. So Brain, it seems like you can have these on the decorators as well, dude. Activated and deactivated. So I'm still struggling to see like the difference between a service. I guess you can change stuff in a service. You can update values in that, right? You can perform logic rather than just query. I'm gonna guess.
Why can't you do those in a decorator?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question. Shall we just have a little look on the difference between decorator and
service?
Service, thank you. Service or task? Oh, crikey, that's not even what we're asking, but oh, good old Matthew Wadstein. He went through bloody everything, didn't he? I spell difference wrong. Conditions. It's actually similar to make decision on whether or not a branch in a tree or even a single node can be executed. Service nodes. These attach to composite nodes and will execute at their defined frequency as long as their branch is being executed. These are often used to make checks to update the Blackboard. These take the place of traditional parallel nodes in other behavior systems. So I guess it's we can choose to do a service more often, like to query and update things, whereas the decorators is just whether or not we go into the tree.
I'm tired.
Did you say you're tired?
Yeah.
You're gonna wrap up yourself?
I guess.
Yeah, no problem. What did you get going by the end of it? What did you get working?
I mean, it runs away, you know.
I want to see it without breakpoints in all its glory.
Oh, sorry.
Ah, ruined. The immersion is ruined. Come on.
Well, there's a wait, so...
Dramatic runaway.
Actually, I broke it.
Oh my gosh.
This happens.
Ooh.
Like, it's because
it's a
of
disco.
No, it's not. Well, I don't know. I'm tired.
It's okay.
Let's try again. I'm close.
Run away. Well, is it finding? It must just be that the location seems to be the same.
Yes, I guess. I mean, this one. I'm multiplying it by 3000. That should be enough. I guess this is. There's something wrong with getting the player controller because it says it's not reading it. But it only
I see.
fails to read it once, I guess.
It could be right at the start before it's been set up.
Yeah, I guess that's it. But I don't know. Sorry.
Okay,
That's all I can show. But
you've done good brainoid, sir.
I'll have some progress next week.
Yeah. So I think next week I'll probably have a bit of practice during the week. I hope anyway. I don't definitely commit to it, but I'm sure I'll get a bit of dev done this week.
It would be awesome if we can have a talk about AHA planning.
Yes. In fact, I found I got a bit of planning stuff in here before, which I looked up earlier, dude. You can see my screen. So I have progress of where we got to before. However, in the actual big document.
Oh, snap.
What is going on? Uh-oh, is my stream broke? Okay. So if we go down into here, we go into design. We'll find it in a sec.
There's an empty spot in scene setup and lighting.
Empty spot in where, sorry?
Scene setup and lighting. It says no one's doing that.
Yeah, well, it'll just have to be me. No, Hefu is Hefu just is doing everything he can. Hefu's done a lot of the bot programming, actually. The API based stuff. I think Nalaj did a bunch of this to begin with, and then I think we have Mamba Dev or Isley has been helping with that as well. But people have come and gone a lot, and Merlin as well has been talking with those involved, I believe, with Hefu and Isley. Anyway, my point here was there's a bit of defend. Oh, what did I call it? Control. Okay, here. Monster AI. What's this in? Adventure AI in scenarios. Did I put it in? Yeah, so I did a bit here where I thought about how I'd like the kind of the combat flow and the monster AI. It's very simple overview, but just the kind of things I'd like to have in it. With the way that I'd like kind of fighting to maybe be done as well. Don't know if that is it. No, I guess. Into room. Yeah, I started talking about different, if you go into a room, whether we're going to use a behavior tree there to choose your target that you're going for and stuff there, So it's in combat, what makes you in combat. So I did write out a bit of planning there that I need to go back through. That can guide some of that. Our chats there as well. But yeah, we shall chat. I need to go through it myself, to be honest with you, to really remember where I was.
Yeah, also to remind us how things will happen,
yeah, what it'll look like, you mean, or
what it'll look like and the flow of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've got MVP stuff written as well, so I'll just reread through this book, and we will see where it ends up.
Yeah, well, maybe we will end up publishing it.
Yeah, who knows? Right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your
Take
help
care,
and your
man.
time today. You have a good day, man.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, bro night.
Yes. Bye.
Okay, and then there was just Dan. Sadness and emptiness. Let's have a quick look then at like making a creating decorator for behavior, probably Americans. Okay. New decorator. Rename it to close enough. The editor should have reopened it. But if not, double check the content browser. And the functions override perform condition check. Okay, let's have a look. Functions override perform condition check. Not AI though. Create the following graph. So we're gonna cast it to the AI thing that we want. Get Blackboard value as actor, so target to follow. This is a key. We have an actor on our Blackboard, so I guess we could set that early on rather than storing it in the controller here. That could work, but I mean we've got it on the controller anyway, so we could do it that way too. And there's an AI. Follow AI icon. I don't know what this whole thing is. Guess the distance between them and make sure, and then it returns whether or not. Okay. Let's just see. Event receive condition check. Is that what we just added? A perform condition check. So is the event sent to this blueprint when the behavior tree hits a node with this condition on it? Once again, store the AI controller so we can reference it later. Get the actor we want to follow. Get the distance between them. Distance is greater than a configurable amount. So it's the same thing again. I don't understand the difference between the receive condition check and the when does the perform condition check get done? Doesn't really explain that, does it? So bad. Sorry, they're not bad, but they're just, it's so easy to not be clear what's going on. I guess we could try and do like a close enough based one, maybe. Oh, Merlin, I missed your message 15 minutes ago, sorry. Decorator we're trying to make. Generally speaking, we got the owned actor and we want to get, hang on, the owned actor, what owns this? Is it the controller or is it controller and not an actor in this case? Yeah, it's not, is it? So You know, it never is an actor in that case. So this is, we want to cast to our AI simple, I guess it's simple. Like that. So we want to cast it. Ole Mao. Welcome to the stream, thank you. Follow. So we got us. I guess we can get actor location if it's valid here. Return. Yeah, I don't know, what do we return if it's not the correct location now. I guess we would. Is this a boolean? It is, isn't it? Because it's a yes or a no. So would we just copy this and have a false? Can't. Maybe. And then we want the location of, I'm going to say get target actor. Yeah, we had a member in there, right? And we want to get actor location. I mean, can we promote this to a... Yeah, convert to valid get. That's what I want. One of those. Okay, let's go down this route. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a boolean. Hello there. No flamethrowers today. Sorry to disappoint. If it's not valid, I guess we can also do that. But if it is valid, get our target actor, right? Then what we want to do is compare the distance between them. So we would get location. Two of these, we'd subtract one from the other, right? They did something similar. Vector location, subtract them and get the vector length. Subtract vector and vector. And then we can get vector length, was it? We had that. It's nice. And then if that vector length is more than a distance, so we're going to have to promote that, I think. Acceptance, so let's promote. Oh, let's do is, hang on, are they less than or equal to? Close enough. And then this is going to go into there. Like so. And this we want to promote to a variable. This variable is going to be called our distance threshold. We'll probably expose it like that. Okay. Sound as if there would be flamethrowers on all of the days. I know there's very, very rarely are there flamethrowers for you, my dear Uno Maestro. I'm sorry for that. A constant source of disappointment. Welcome back, Merlin. And yeah, Merlin, it's like I'm not even getting updates about Windybeard's game. They're just general emails from the Kickstarter. I say that, sorry, because I missed your comment 15 minutes ago. Where are we at? So I don't know how this works, because like on the page it says to do this, right? And then afterwards, just randomly, it says, then event receive condition check is the event sent to this blueprint when the behavior tree hits a node with this condition on it. So it says store the AI controller so we can reference it later. Get the actor we want to follow. Oh, that's because they're following something. I guess we're kind of doing the same thing as well, right? Get the distance between that actor and the AI pawn like we did. I think he's just talking through this. Oh, in that new... No, it is probably something to do like that, but the default settings I just find are unpleasant. When I back a game, I don't think about, hey, I should go into my settings and make sure they don't email me every day trying to get me to back more products. I think I might look for another example of how to do this, because receive condition check. Is it an override? Receive Maybe they were wrong because there is not one called that. Silly. Let's just see if this works, shall we? That's right, I just called the Unreal doc silly. Such a rebel. Let's save everything. So in our behavior tree now, we want to go ahead and put in a condition on this. Okay, if you're close enough, then we want to shout, I guess. Yeah, we can just do something simple, I guess, for now, right? We can just print a message out. Let's put a decorator onto this. We can use our custom one, which is called... Did I give it a name? Crikey. ET decorator. Close enough. That way, in here, decorate this close enough. Don't be rude. Close enough. Okay, and the distance threshold we're going to give this is if you're within 50 units, let's just say for now. Save. I like how the inverse condition is there as well. That's pretty nice. Perform condition check AI. Oh, that's the thing. It didn't say to do the AI one when I looked at it, dude. It just said to do the perform condition check. These things always leave so many questions for me. We'll see what happens. So if it does, only when it's close enough, we want to go ahead and then just... I guess we'll have to do like a debug task to shout something. So should we make a new task from the base? We want to add execute start. Where's the finish one? We want to add the execute. Execute AI, I think is that one. Yeah, I would have imagined the same as well, Apollyon, if I'm perfectly honest with you, man. So this task is just going to be, we don't need to do anything other than we need to take in a value, I think, and have it. How can we give it a value? Expose a value out, I guess. Make a variable. We make this a string or text. I can't remember which one. String debug message. And basically, can we do like a print here? Oh, it does. Let's just do that. We want to whack that in there. What color? Bright pink for 5 seconds. Okay. Expose that out. Compile, save. Give this a better name. Task debug message. Just call it that for now. Save in here. Debug message. Give this a message in of why are you so close? Perfect. Save. Mature content notification. Dan talks about strings all day long. Oh no, there's nothing wrong with this string. Okay, let's see if this works. So if we press play, shouldn't say anything, but I mean, let's give ourselves a brief moment to look into here, right? We go into here and debug it. This should be continually done, yeah? So, oh, the cast is failed. What is this? AI controller. Oh, it is. Hang on. It is a controller. Okay, so we need to get controlled pawn from this bit. Okay, cast to simple controller. I'm guessing this is what was going wrong. Into that. Not that we tested it, just through debugging it, it looked like it wasn't going wrong. And then we want to get controlled pawn. That one. Feed that into that. And again, we'll put this fail into that. Maybe I feel like it's better to just have all the fails away. Out the way. Okay, let's try that again, I guess. Okay, so it did succeed on that. So now hopefully this will succeed as well. Great. And I guess we can step over to here and see the value that's coming back. So they're at that distance there, and the distance between them is 810. No, sorry. Well, yeah, 884. And what's our distance threshold? 50. We need to be a lot closer. That looks like it's working to me. Let's take off this breakpoint. But it seems to be evaluated. Let's just continue.